Time now for all things Gators, all things orange and blue. Dan Hicken, Frangie. What's up, Hick?
Doing great. Thank you, Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, the best in the business, se-ortho.com for all your orthopedic needs. Frank, you went down to the spring game. Lots of thoughts to talk about as we watched the boys in action. We sort of referred to it as the orange and ooh game.
I was there. I got to spend time with Scott Strickland. He came by for the show. Todd Golden came by. A lot of hoops to talk about in a minute.
Do you feel better or worse? You've been very positive about the upcoming season. You've been very upbeat about it. I've been sort of Danny Downer. Do you feel better or worse about what is going to happen in 2023 fall?
About the same. I think they're not gonna win. They're not going to be a 4 or 5 win team, since like you and all the frightful people worry about. They're also not going to win 10. I think they're better. I think what I really feel good about is I think they're headed in the right direction. Here's what I thought from the spring game, though. The offense looked gross. I don't think it was a Mertz thing or a Jack Miller thing or downtown Max Brown. I think the offense. They couldn't block anybody. The defense blitzed every play, exotic blitzes, corner blitzes, which I've never seen in a spring game. And the quarterbacks were just running for their life. Billy Napier said after a goal, we had a dirty pocket. Well, that's because you sent 8 guys every play. So you know how spring games are, Dan. Usually you can only do so much. You can maybe send a 5th guy every now and then.
What I do know, Frank, is that you can manipulate spring games. And I wonder how tone deaf Billy Napier is for a fan base that is starving to see some offense, not allowing, manipulating his way to some highlight plays that would make people at least give us negative Nellies a okay. There was none of that, Frank.
That ran through my mind.
Yeah.
And then I thought, the ultimate goal is to be good next fall.
Yeah.
And they were so miserable on defense last year.
Yes.
Maybe he brings in the new guy, Austin Anderson, and says, look, do what you're going to do. We got to get better defensively. So I thought maybe about that. The other thing, too, is I thought their offensive line this year, well before anybody got hurt or all the weird stuff happened, would be Maskua at left guard, Eglicon at center, and Cameron Waits at right guard. Well, none of them played. None of them played. Maskua, I guess, is hurt, and I guess he's staying. I don't think he's leaving. He's hurt. Cameron Waits has the Achilles. He's gone till August. For whatever reason, the center Eglicon didn't play. So it was a bunch of backups versus the blitz against a line that I think will be better. So the point is, it was gross to watch. It was 7-7. The only reason it was 10-7 is because Billy put time on the clock, so we didn't have to have overtime. So it was gross to watch. But so here's my thinking. Everyone wants to talk about Mertz, okay? Here's what Mertz is, okay? Let me tell you what Mertz is. He's a guy that I saw nothing that wowed me. Not one throw that I said, wow, look at that throw.
Yeah.
And not one run. He was a very non-wowing guy. But you know what else, Dan? I saw nothing that concerned me. He didn't throw one right to the safety. He didn't throw a wobbler. He didn't miss any open guys.
Yeah.
He's just, you know what? He's going to be better than Treon Harris and Emory Jones. He's not going to be as good as Trask. He will be better he won't be nearly as good Anthony Richardson, but he'll be a little bit better than bad Anthony Richardson. He's Jesse Palmer. I think he's a guy that will hit the open guy and keep the seat warm till DJ Lagway gets there. That's what I think. I think he'll be okay. What do you think?
I think that I love you. They're awful at quarterback. Awful. It's
at quarterback.
At quarterback. I mean, based on what I saw, based on spring, based on any highlight I saw, based on. I mean, I don't know how is that guy going to beat Tennessee? How is that guy going to beat LSU? How is that guy going to beat Kentucky? Call Oxford right now. Who's your quarterback? Okay, we'll take the other one. If it's Dart, we'll take the Oklahoma State kid. If it's the Oklahoma State kid, call Texas. The third guy, Malik, whatever his name is, call him. Find us a quarterback, Billy. This is shades of, with all due respect, Appleby Del Rio, Frank. Well, I mean, this is no bueno, my friend.
Well, here's what you got. Let me give you a heads up, okay?
Yeah.
This guy's going to be your quarterback, okay? Whether you hate that or like that, they're not going to bring in some transfer guy in June who's never been to the campus, never seen the playbook, never thrown with receivers, and boom, he's the quarterback.
Yes, he is. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. I'm demanding it. You know what, Frank? You know that I'm looking at a picture. I'm looking at a picture of the swamp. You know what? I don't care if you hadn't seen the campus. The field's the same field they've all played on their whole lives.
You know what you are? You're heard of guy. You know what you are? Heard of guy. You can't tell me what heard of guy is? Can I tell you?
What's that?
Heard of guy. You're heard of. Don't make me laugh. I mean, seriously. You're heard of guy. You know why you wanted Emory Jones over Kyle Trask, even though I tried to beat it. I tried to beat that into you because you're too stubborn. Because you had heard of him. You're heard of guy. You know why you want Grayson McCall instead of this dude? Because you've heard of him. You're heard of guy. Okay.
You know who you are? You're tight end guy. You know what tight end guy is? Andy Richardson would be a better tight end. Oh, he's getting picked 4th in the draft.
Oh, I was that guy. Guilty as charged. But here's what I think. I think this is your guy, and I think I don't think he's great. I don't think he's terrible. I think he's your guy. This is your guy. You know what I saw the other night? He's better than Jack Miller, and he's better than downtown Max Brown.
31-13 Utah.
Yeah, maybe. But I mean,
the shutout streak's in jeopardy, Frank.
Do you still hold out hope that the guys come that they're going to parachute in this?
I gotta hold out hope.
Let me guess. Jackson Dart's not going to win the job at Ole Miss.
Get him.
He's going to transfer to Florida. Get there immediately, be the starter.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go.
So this is your guy. Like it or not, this is your guy.
This is my plan.
This is your guy.
It's your guy. He's not my guy. He's my. I have a plan.
Guess what? When you're sitting around the house Thursday night before Labor Day, you got the little family around you. You got the dog. You're sitting there in your posh estate.
Kick the dog. I'm going to kick the dog.
Kick the dog. And 15's your quarterback. And they may lose 38-7, but they're going to lose with that guy playing quarterback. So just so you know, so there's that. So
thanks for cheering me up.
No problem. Here's what I thought from the spring game. I thought the offense may be gross. I hope they can block somebody. The other thing is nobody got open. So either
Mizell got open on that first play. He ran by everybody. They couldn't get him the ball.
Yeah, well, that's true. But that was on the blue team. But here's my thinking. Either A, they just brought in Deion Sanders and Darrell Green and we weren't watching.
Okay.
Or B, nobody can get open because when I worry that it was such a dull, boring spring game. That's the thing. Yeah. There was nothing there. I'd like to believe the defense is way better, but I don't think you go from being the worst defense around to suddenly you're the 85 Bears, right? So the truth is, Dan, I think this year's team is an 8-win team. It's 9 wins would have a parade. But I think they are what they are. But I'll still say what you and I think have both said all along is I think he's getting good players in there. The young guys look like better players than the old guys. And if the young guys look like better players than the old guys. And by the way, I think they missed on some quarterbacks in the portal. I think they got Graham Mertz because there's 2 or 3 guys they really wanted, the Tulane guy, other guys that didn't come, you know. Right. So I think this guy's going to wind up being their guy. But I think it's going to be I hope they'll be better defensively. I think that they can't be worse, right? Defensively?
Right. I don't think so. I don't think so.
Yeah. So
I like the D coordinator. I like him. I would have, if I was Billy, I would have said, I'm the head coach. Stop blitzing.
Right.
Blitz one more time, you're going to get a shower or something. I mean, but I like his energy. I like they, and I hope, and I like some of those young guys on that D line. Some of the linebackers are better. Defensive backs, they look more SEC-like to me. So
Agreed.
In that respect, it's going to take time. It's just going to take time. But I got a whole nother season to go through, I think, I'm afraid, Frank. And you say 8 wins like it's easy.
But I think that, but no question. Look, they're 2 of their non-conference games are Utah and FSU. They're top 10 teams. Okay. But I think they'll win 8 games. I don't think they're a 6-win team again. I think they're going to win 8 games.
8 would be good for him. That would be good for the coach. Yeah.
This year would be it looks like the 24 recruiting class is coming. This recruiting class is pretty good. It looks like, I'm telling you, they're mentioned for more guys than they've ever been mentioned for.
Yeah.
It's never been like this. I mean, I say it hasn't been like this since Urban, man. Where all these 4s and 5s are thinking about coming. Right now. I'll take thinking about it. Some are coming, by the way. They've got so I like where I think they're headed this year. I think you got an 8-win team, and your guy Graham Mertz will be your guy. Hey, listen, let me tell you the good news. I know your son's already got a bunch of those 15 jerseys. Well, now you can wear the 15 jersey, okay? I care about you and your family.
Thank you.
It's me about this family.
Thank you very much.
What do you think about hoops and all the transfer guys in hoops? What's your thought on
that? I'm not going to get excited, right. but good for him. And I think that, there's some guys there. They got some size, which I like. They got a baby Castleton 7-footer who's got plenty of time and eligibility left. Right. I like what they've done, but I'm not going to do this every year with you, Frank. And then you're going to tell, I'm going to get the Peach Belt Player of the Year.
Right.
And then the Peach Belt Player of the Year's play translates in the SEC to 6 points and an assist a game. So it's kind of a wait and see kind of thing. I still think you got to recruit better. It's going to take some time, but you got to recruit better. But I'm okay with it. At least I have some excitement. Yeah.
Right. I think you said it. You said it exactly right. We hope the guy that was great at St. Bonaventure and VMI would be good in the SEC, and they weren't. Right. They weren't. So now you're hoping that the guy that was really good at Seton Hall and Marshall will be good in the SEC. I hear you. And there's no way of knowing until you see him there. I do get the sense this guy Clayton that Pitino wanted is really good.
Yes.
As far as the three big guys, the 7'1" guy, the 6'10" guy from Seton Hall, the 6'8" guy from Yale, I don't know how good they are, but at least they're big and there's volume of players.
Correct.
At least they're not going to have to play Will Richard and Riley Cook, both say it's small forward and power forward.
Right.
They're going to be guards are going to play guard this year.
Right.
Which I think matters. I'm encouraged. I'll be interested to see because look, we're all having to get used to that's the new world.
Sure.
Kansas State went to the Elite Eight with nothing but transfers.
Correct.
Like all transfers. Baylor won a title a couple years ago with mostly transfers. Gonzaga fuels its program with transfers. So that's the word. When Todd Golden sat with us last weekend, he said, listen, the goal is to get freshmen in here from the state of Florida and to build that way. But that's going to take time.
Sure.
And here's the deal, Dan, you got to win enough to have time to do that. And sometimes, so
good point.
I'll tell you this. I thought last year was a miserable year. I thought he did a good job with not very much. I worried about another miserable year, and I don't think it's going to be that. I have no idea. I have no idea how good these guys are.
Right.
7'1" guy from Marshall, a 6'8" guy from Yale, and a 6'10" guy from Seton Hall. We can watch YouTube tape and whatnot, but we don't know how they're going to match up against Alabama and Tennessee and Kentucky.
Sure.
Until they do it. But at least there's some volume of size there.
Yeah. And last thing, let's just recap baseball. I was very encouraged by the Florida baseball team in their series against Georgia. And I'll tell you why. Your first glance is, oh, my God, they blew that, Friday night game. And they did. But Sully basically came out right after the game and said, hey, man, nothing we can do about it. We got to win the series. And that's what they did. And they had to battle and they had to compete. And they did. And I thought that was a good sign for this team to show me some grit. I thought it was a grit weekend for the Gators. I mean, they're much better than Georgia, but I'll take that. Look, series wins are, 13 series in a row, extending back to last year. Yeah. I'm very encouraged by what we're watching with Florida baseball so far.
I am too. Two quick thoughts of that. Number one, I totally agree with what you said. Here's what I do hope. The last 2 years, Mississippi State and Ole Miss won the national championship. The reason they both won, Ole Miss was the last team to make the tournament last year, last team in, and they won the whole thing.
Right.
The reason is those teams are so beat up from playing in the SEC that they're better than everybody else they play.
Right.
And I think you're really the SEC East this year. Georgia's sixth, Dan. They're sixth in the East. They were pretty good.
They were pretty good
for a team that's not as good as Vanderbilt, South Carolina, Kentucky, Florida, or Tennessee. Those are the top five in the East. Georgia's not as good as any of those five. Hell, they were pretty good. So I think you got to get in that top eight. All that matters is the top eight. Because if you're in the top eight, you get the regional and the super. You never leave that beautiful new ballpark until you go to Omaha. I like where they are too. I still worry a little. Do you remember the '98 team at all? Do you remember that '98 team?
You're gonna have to refresh me.
Okay, they led the nation in home runs.
Okay, yeah,
that was the team. They had Casey Smith and Hazard and Wilkerson and all those guys.
Yep.
Led them with a number one seed in Omaha. Number one.
All right.
Got to Omaha.
Oh, they lost the 2 high-scoring games.
They lost 12-10 and 14-13.
Yeah.
Okay. They scored 23 runs in Omaha and went 2 in barbecue. They lost to USC and Mississippi State. So I think if this team can find if they don't find pitching, they'll be just like that. But this team it's gonna be a fireworks display. They're always in every game. Because even down 8-3 in the 5th inning, they might win that game 14-11. Okay?
Correct.
That's who they are. So they're fun to watch, and they're going to be fun to watch. And I think
great crowds too. It's like catching on. It's like I like that. Like we need that in because the SEC, man, you want to go play places that are exciting, and I like that in Florida. Now there's 5, 6, 7,000 at that park on a nightly basis.
Did you watch the gymnastics, Dan?
I'll say this, man. I want to tribute to Trinity.
Yeah, me too.
Maybe one of the top, one of the top athletes in Florida history. Female athletes, you know, where you might put her. Tracy Calkins comes to mind. There's a few, you know, but this lady was a great Gator. Came back for one more year, didn't have to. 28 perfect 10s. I'll just say we got robbed.
Yeah, well, I don't know enough about the judging, but I'll say this.
I wanted the T-shirt, Frank.
Yeah, I know you did. A serious point, the point you just made.
Yeah.
Hearing Trinity Thomas talk when it was over.
Yeah.
I thought I was listening to Werfel or Tebow.
Yeah.
I thought what was the skill, the grace, the humility, the appreciation of Florida and her teammates and what her career meant to her. I mean, I thought it was one of the coolest things listening to her talk after that thing was over.
Yep.
And I did. I thought it was a neat deal. So look, Oklahoma's really good. Florida's really good. You know, you get to you get near the mountaintop enough times, you're going to get to the top. So there you go. All right.
Problem with that is you have no idea how they score. I don't know what the hell the judges are looking at. So I'm like, that's a 10. That's a 10.
Everyone.
I watched the Oklahoma girl. She slipped.
Yeah, the people that know gymnastics way better than me, our friend Lauren Brooks and all the people on Twitter, seem to suggest that Oklahoma generally gets good judging.
Yeah,
I don't know enough to know.
Right,
I really don't.
I'm with you.
But we'll see some. That's all things Gators. Dan Hicken's worried. Dan, I'm going to take care of you. Don't worry too much.
I am. It's going to be a long summer. Thank you, Frank.
Frangie.
Yeah, Southeast Orthopedic Specialist, se-ortho.com for all your orthopedic needs in the area. Frank, you have a great week, buddy.
You too, Hick.